So there is no doubt about it that multiple divisions at the Walt Disney Company are going through various setbacks and challenges for many different reasons, by the way, that have all been caused by Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, not to only blame his deliberate agenda and his overall ideology, but also how incompetent he really is when it comes to a lot of brands that Disney happens to own. And what's really revealing has a lot to do with the ongoing backlash related to the Snow White teaser trailer that was, by the way, displayed at the official D23 event and shortly after across all forms of social media. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, one very revealing aspect about Snow White is that we know that there's a lot of back and forth drama happening right now between both Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, alright? There's a lot of things going on between the two individuals, and it's only the beginning, and it is set to get even worse over time. Now, we already know that Zegler is a very much self-absorbed person, a very self-absorbed actress, and that's why you're having a lot of these scenarios where many of those, like Mark Webb and others, have described her behind the scenes as very difficult to work with, and we all know what that means when it's in the film industry, difficult to work with, quote-unquote. Now, moving forward here, alright, we have a lot of things going on with this movie in particular. It's not just limited to Bob Iger's ideology, his overall agenda-driven strategy for this film, and the promotion of DEI over a proper story or respecting source material, but a lot of it really has to do with Zegler's overall drama. Let's get into this. Now, with, of course, multiple divisions at the Walt Disney Company already going through various and serious cost-cutting measures by Bob Iger, one major development now has more to do with drama happening between both Rachel Zegler and Gal for Snow White 2025. Now, a crucial update to this serious situation for the Walt Disney Company now involves how Rachel Zegler reportedly went on a rampage against her co-star Gal Gadot as a reaction to something that was recently done in the wake of the multiple failed test screenings, with another on the way, by the way, by the end of this month. Now, since Gal is close friends, if you guys did not know, with both director Mark Webb and writer Greta Gerwig, and was very friendly with them on set, where Zegler was the opposite with Mark Webb, it turns out that Gal convinced both Mark Webb and Greta Gerwig to actually make some last-minute alterations and revisions to the third act of the film for the final battle between both Snow White and the Evil Queen, since Zegler's acting was reported by test screeners as a complete abysmal failure for the climax of the film. Gal actually convinced both Mark and Greta to provide her the high ground acting-wise above Rachel Zegler, and to have more screen time than her in the third act of the film, since Gal believes that she was being shortchanged. This arrangement was made, and it actually created a firestorm from Rachel Zegler, where now there are not only grudges between Zegler and the Disney heads, but also between Rachel and Gal, as well as director Mark Webb and writer Greta Gerwig specifically, where Rachel even blamed and actually played multiple blame games against Gal, as the film is now being reworked with older footage that was shot back in 2023 to actually respect the Evil Queen character more over Snow White. This drama even got to a point where Zegler held Gal completely responsible for the distance that was created between herself and the rest of the crew for Snow White 2025, calling Gal difficult to work with, when in reality this was also quite the opposite. Now guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing. The overall attitude by Zegler that's been radiating behind the scenes, the fact that she had the audacity to say that Gal was hard to work with, and like I said before, it was quite the reverse, just is very revealing about how Rachel Zegler acts behind the scenes and acts on set, and even during post-production when this movie is all wrapped up. Now again, like I said earlier today, there are negotiations already taking place again to do additional reshoots for this movie that's going to cost millions upon millions of dollars more by the beginning of this fall if they want to go down that route. Whether or not they actually pursue that is all up to Bob Iger. We'll have to wait and see. I think it would be a terrible mistake on their end, but hey, so be it. Because if they go down that road, it's all on them, basically. It's all their problem. Now, this is where things really begin to pick up, is that Zegler was best described as very difficult to work with both on set and even preparing for the upcoming PR plan for the Snow White live-action film. In addition to all of this, Zegler now officially has less singing sessions in the Snow White movie than Gal does, and puts full blame on Gal for convincing Mark Webb, the director, to make those drastic last-minute decisions that were approved by Bob Iger and the Disney heads. What created a bigger space between Zegler and Gal, however, also involved the fact that now Gal is taking over more interview spots to promote Snow White instead of Rachel Zegler, and this too is creating a firestorm behind the scenes. This includes Gal taking over an exclusive video interview with Variety that was supposed to be for Zegler. This is a temporary solution, however, by Disney to give the general public a little bit of a break from Zegler's toxic behavior that she has put on both social media and on their television. Now, let me just say one thing about this, guys. Now, look, I know that Rachel Zegler's a bad actress, but it must be said by me again that even Gal is very hit or miss, alright? She's had her moments, but she's also had very bad moments in her acting career. Gal isn't the best actress in my book. I feel like she has a lot of failures in her filmography. There are even a couple of lines of dialogue in the trailer where she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." The way that was delivered was a little off and a little odd. I don't know if you guys picked up on that or if it was just me, but I think it does have a lot to do with the test screenings that failed. That also had a lot of problems, by the way, with Gal. It's not just limited to Zegler, but Zegler was getting, of course, the more negative side of things. Moving on, in conclusion, Zegler already actually, of course, on top of everything here, had a massive meltdown behind the scenes against Gal for reportedly betraying her, quote-unquote, and not standing up for her as well. And the grudge between the two continues to worsen over time, making it harder for the press tour to come off as natural. So that's another thing, by the way, guys, and we talked about this briefly about a week ago, is that they want to keep these two together at all costs, only a couple of months before the release of Snow White 2025. So once we're in that like January to February timeframe, they want these two actresses to be together on live television, on, interviews, whatever it takes, to give you guys the overall false image that basically they are friendly with each other, that they're getting along. They want to make sure that they can keep that PR, that press tour intact, and everything else that comes along with it. And to have that come off naturally is going to be very hard when you actually have a grudge between these two actually happening. Now look, it's not just limited to the creative differences. We know that both Gal and Rachel have a bit of a personal issue, and for obvious reasons why, based on what Zegler's been talking about on X, also known as Twitter, and there's a lot of things going on there. But when you look at this in, the rearview mirror, when Snow White actually wrapped filming weeks and weeks ago, now they want to pursue more reshoots, they want to spend more money on this thing. Heck, they already spent $350 million on the Snow White live-action remake, and that is just atrocious when it comes to how much funds you're dumping into a movie like this. But overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.